Good morning and welcome to another one of Drew's book reviews. So today's book is going to be Koerner's If You Can Keep It. So it's not very often that I read a non-fiction book. This one particularly I found really just a must-read for any political minded people out there, and even if you're not politically minded, definitely worth picking up. Now, I actually have the opportunity to meet Mr. Robin Koerner, the original Blue Republican, at a convention and gathering of political-minded people last year in Vancouver, Canada, and that's when I was able to get a copy of If You Can Keep It: How We Lost It or How We Nearly Lost It and How We Get It Back. This is a great book, and analysis of the current political realities within the United States and the libertarian movement of America, and going back to the original intent of the founding fathers of the United States. And some of my favorite parts of this book, particularly, was this book on mainstream media and how it reports within these paradigms of the American thought process, and how the reports themselves tend to play into that paradigm or way of thinking, and thus effectively confirming what people already believe about a given situation. As an example, we cited one news media report that stated Iran now has a missile that can reach Israel, or launched one, which, while factually true, it certainly plays into the paradigm that Iran is out to destroy Israel, when really that's not the case at all. And he explains how that isn't the case at all, and how just because it could reach Israel doesn't necessarily mean that Israel is Iran's target, and there are numerous countries also within range of this missile, not just Israel. So that was a really excellent example of how the media pushes a bias towards a certain thought process or pattern within the media reporting, and how it's important to look at things beyond the scope of just one singular nation's viewpoint, but maybe to look at the viewpoints in the news reports from across the world regarding the same issues, both from those people who are actually present in the circumstances that are being reported on, but also how the rest of the world is viewing this through those media outlets' paradigms. I thought that was a really excellent analysis of how the media works, and it's certainly one that I've come to believe in, which is I've seen throughout Canadian media here. One of the other areas that really impressed me about this was his analysis of the fractional reserve banking system and how that works. So I always had this kind of rudimentary understanding of what fractional reserve banking is and what that actually meant. But his analysis and how he goes into explaining how banks create money through debt creation, and really only have on hand just a fraction of what they've actually created in terms of money and debt creation, and how that works, and how this has led to an unstable method of banking, because if, at least in theory, if everyone were to call in their debts from the bank, which is what our bank balances are, the representative of this debt that the bank owes us as they lend out our money to others, if everyone were to call on their debts at the same time from the bank, there wouldn't be enough money at the bank to support the demand to pay that debt, which is a key problem, which he explains was a part of the problem of the economic collapse in America. It happened back in 2008. So just a fantastic analysis with respect to the fractional reserve banking and how that works. And of course, he also gets into discussion regarding the original Constitution of America. And it really kind of got me thinking as well about the contrast or differences between the American Constitution and our Canadian Constitution up here in Canada. And I really loved how he really got into the idea of the American Constitution is we the people, as opposed to the government graciously granting certain fundamental freedoms to its people. It is we the people hereby restrain you the government kind of idea behind the American Constitution, which is just a fantastic document in and of itself, and I think a very important document in the history of the Western civilized world. With that, I love his analysis of how within the Constitution, very short and simple phrase which really embodies the entire spirit of the American Constitution, which is we hold these truths to be self-evident, that everyone has the rights to the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that is just a fantastic ideal, and I love how it's phrased. We hold this to be self-evident, that these rights are inherent to our nature as individuals. And that's really what the liberty movement is all about. And that is just a really fantastic way to look at it, I think. And I wish more people saw things like that. Overall, just really enjoyed this book. And one of my other favorite parts that really kind of, I guess, hit home for me was he's talking about how the politics of liberty is the politics of love. It's all about loving people and trusting them to know what's best for them without having to impose our own ideology on them. And that it really is. It's about love and respect for the individual rather than voting to take from others to give to others. And that is just a really fantastic aspect of it. This book is absolutely a must read for anybody who believes in themselves, believes in individuality, believes in your own ability to determine your own destiny, your own fate. Just a fantastic analysis, and I highly recommend this to anybody. Political stripe of left, right, doesn't matter. You can be Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, New Democrat here in Canada, green, doesn't matter. This is a highly recommended book that you need to read. It really puts things in perspective and helps you understand the politics of liberty and freedom, and most particularly the politics of libertarianism. But he doesn't just speak to those who are not really aligned with the libertarian philosophy and politics. He also really speaks to libertarians who have a habit of arguing with each other and being puritanical, I guess is the best way to think of it, in their approach and application of the libertarian philosophy. And that this purism or puritanical approach often is more divisive than unifying. And that we need to change the way we approach liberty, and that we need to accept that other peoples have a different vision on how to get where we want to go, and that we need to apply the politics of liberty, that is the politics of love, to unite so that we can bring that true liberty to those whom we seek to be a part of this movement, and that we should look at supporting all politicians of all political stripes on anything that advances the cause of liberty, that makes things better for us. And this is just an amazing way to look at it, a fantastic way to look at it. Because so many people, they won't vote for somebody if they're not of the same political stripe or party. But what we really should be doing is focusing on supporting those who support the cause of freedom, whether they're on the left political scale or the right political scale. And overall, just really influential and fantastic book. You need to read this book, and I definitely highly recommend this book. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe below. And up next, stay tuned, we'll be reading The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. So, of course, another nonfiction book, but I'm sure it'll be very good read indeed. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and as always, links to my Twitter and Facebook feed will be in the comments or in the description below. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I hope you have yourself a great day. So there it is, If You Can Keep It by Koerner. Make sure you read it. Have a great day.